It's Cast in Court TV. This is your girl, Miss Public Info, here with the latest and greatest and sometimes hated information about your most favorite high profile cases going on around the country. And here, of course, I have an update on the Diddy trial as it relates to the sentencing. Now, I don't know how I could have forgotten to tell you up guys about this. It's probably the heat. I can tell you, it's hotter than a six shooter out here in Los Angeles, and I am smolting right now. I just came from outside. I did a little tennis, and I had a tennis outfit on, and I was gonna wear it to do this episode. And child, I mean, it just didn't work out. It didn't work out, as I have to get like myself puffed and powdered again, and then I'm gonna have to redress because it just didn't work out, guys. It just didn't work out. Okay, what's going on with Sean Diddy Combs? And like, hey, let's get Miss Public Info. We don't care about what happened with the tennis. Tell us what happened with P Diddy. What's going on? What's the latest? Okay, the latest is, guys. Now, Judge Submarine, as you know, at the status conference for the speedy, he never even got on the bench, right? Okay, so what ended up happening here is last night he filed a motion, and he filed a motion, an instruction to the lawyers, the defense, and saying the following: the defense and the not the defense, guys, the prosecution, the government, saying the following: he'd like some case law. He likes some case law as it pertains to setting precedents as it relates to the transportation prostitution case, the MANN Act, and he would like to know what the precedence has been in relation to the sentencing. How have others been sentenced under the MANN Act? That's one. Or he's saying you can give him some case law about how other people have been sentenced as it relates to this level of an offense. As you know, the MANN Act is not one of the more serious offenses. This is the least serious offense that Sean Combs was charged with. It was the higher sentences that, or the higher counts that everyone was afraid of, or he was afraid of, right? So this is more on the lower tier. It runs from 1 to 10 years for each count. So Judge Submaranian is asking for a bit of base level. Where do we start here? I need to know what precedence has been set for other people in the same situation. You can either give me people who have been, sentenced under the MANN Act and what that precedence looks like, or you can give me information as it relates to people who have been convicted of this level of an offense and what that actual sentencing looks like. And then he goes on to say he also wants to know how other people have been sent. Those people have been sentenced, but I need to know specifically if those people were a level 1 offender, level 2 offender, level 3 offender. He specifically asked, I need to know if those people were a level 1 offender, because Sean Combs would be a level 1 offender because he has no previous criminal history. He is a first time offender. Okay, I'm going to go and read you the actual order that he filed. So he says, in connection with the sentencing proceeding in this case, the court would find it helpful. The court would find it helpful to have available data on sentences imposed where the primary or sole conviction was for a violation of 18 U.S.C. 2421A, which is the MANN Act, or 2, the base offense level under the sentencing guidelines was calculated under 2G 1.1A2, which is basically a lower level, equal footing to the MANN Act. And then he goes on to say, and a criminal history of category 1, basically somebody who is a first-time offender. The parties should locate cases, and I guess this was given to both the defense and the government to come back with. The parties should locate cases that they believe match these criteria and file a letter, hopefully a joint letter, like they did when they requested the expedited sentencing date. A joint letter identifying those cases by docket number and jurisdiction on or before September 1st, 2024. No argument should be included in this letter. He does not want to hear from you. Now, on this note, I'm gonna tell you guys why I think Judge Submarinian didn't take the bench. So if you recall in previous episodes, I told you guys about how I felt like the defense was going to try and argue for Sean Combs to get out of jail, right? And when the defense got into that room, they noticed that Judge Submarinian wasn't there. The deputy was there, and they simply gave their letter of, you know, the expedited sentencing date to the deputy, and the deputy said that, you know, Judge Submarinian would get back to them via writing. He basically, you know, said, I mean, the meeting lasted, or the hearing lasted all of like 45 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever, right? Because the letters were already pre-written. I think Judge Submarinian didn't come because he didn't want them asking for bail. I really do. I think he's just over it. Somebody wrote in the comments that Judge Submarinian doesn't like black men. I just think, I don't know if he doesn't like black men specifically, but I know he doesn't like Sean Combs. I'll say that. I think it's hard, right? It's hard to sit and hear a case like that. Because even if you don't think this guy is an STX trafficker, a lot of the things that we heard, and to the defense's own admission, that their client is violent and that their client is not a nice guy. That's essentially what they said. That was part of their defense, that you might not like him. They said it in the opening. You might not like Mr. Combs. So, you know, the assertion that some people have been making, like, oh, you know, he doesn't like him. He doesn't like Sean Combs because he's, you know, well, no, you're right. He does not like Sean Combs. A lot of people don't like Sean Combs, especially after hearing what we heard in that case. If you were really, really listening. But the assertion that he doesn't like black men in totality, no, I don't think so, because Sean Combs is not representative of black men. It's just all over. Not at all. Not by a long shot. Okay. So I just think he doesn't like Sean Combs. And I think he was just done with his attorneys. I also think he just really does not like Mark Agnifilio, who is Sean Combs' main attorney. Oh wow, he's just part of the dream team, but he's definitely like the closer, and he's also the attorney that argued the bail. And I just think that he does not like Mark Agnifilio. He is like over him. So as much as this may have to do with Sean Combs, it may also have to do with his counsel. That he is just over him, and he is over Mark Agnifilio and the crew. And he just didn't want to hear from them. He did not want to hear them try to argue bail and bring out more information about how their clients should get out of jail and all this stuff. He's like, I have made my decision, and goodbye and good night. And I think that is the reason, could be, possibly, I'm not on their team, so I don't know. I'm not on any team. But I'm not like in earshot of what's happening with him. But that could also be the reason why the defense decided to abandon the expedited sentencing request that they gave and just accept the October 3rd date that Judge Submarinian gave in the first place, because perhaps trying to get an expedited sentencing date, or sentencing hearing rather, was a ruse to try to get their client out of jail, which is what I suspected. But when Judge Submarinian didn't hit the bench, he didn't show up and sent his deputy, they were like, oh, forget it. You know what I mean? Like, because how far was September 22nd from October 3rd? It wasn't far at all. So it could be the reason. I just kind of like think they abandoned it for that reason. I also just think Judge Submarinian was done talking to them. It's like, I don't want to hear any more of your rhetoric. I want to hear Mark Agnifilio be arrogant and tell me how much smarter he thinks he is than everybody else in the room. I don't want to hear any of that. And he was just over it. That's kind of what I think about it. And then Judge Submarinian, after he makes those two requests of the attorneys, he says, the goal is for the parties' subsequent sentencing submissions to address the cases identified in the September 1 filing, focusing on those that each side believes reflect sentences imposed for similarly situated defendants, if any. The court appreciates the parties' assistance in identifying these cases, as this information is not presently available from the Sentencing Commission. So ordered. So he gave them a little bit of homework. essentially. And as it relates to the defense, it's like the defense needs to basically, he says, hey, defense, Agnafilio and crew, you guys need to show me case law, or some case law and some precedents where offenders who look like your guy, who has no previous criminal history, who's been convicted of the Mann Act or an equal level charge, has gotten the kind of sentence that you're asking for, which of course is from 21 to 25 months. So you need to show me that. And then, hey, government, you need to show me where, this guy that you've got here, who is a first time offender, who you're going to bring out the fact that, he's violent and he's done all these things at X, Y, and Z. You need to show me a case that highlights an offender with the same profile as this guy that was convicted of the Mann Act or an equal level offense, and was sentenced to the 65 months that you're seeking. And you all have until September 1st to do that. So he's giving them a little bit of homework. It's procedural, it's an order. It's not anything to get all, willy-nilly crazy about, but it's something extra that they've got to do. I'll tell you one thing about Judge Subterranean. He gonna make them work for whatever it is that they want. That's for sure. I mean, I've been around a lot of judges as it relates to the judiciary process, and each judge has their own personality, and everything. And during the course of the trial, we didn't really know Judge Subterranean's personality, really, but I think we're getting to know it now. Now, I will tell you, there was a hearing, a sentencing that Judge Subterranean did earlier in the week. It was a much more serious sentencing because this person was sentenced on gun charges. But I want to show you how Judge Subterranean looks at the sentencing guidelines as it relates to what the Department of Probation suggests or recommends versus what he wants versus what the government says. Now, this person, the Department of Probation was recommending, I believe, 90 months in prison. The government was recommending somewhere along those lines as well. It was within that range. Judge Subterranean ended up sentencing him to 70 months. So a little bit on the lower end, but this guy had a interesting upbringing. He had a lot of turmoil going on in his upbringing. They talked a little about his mother, his parents, and everything. So I think Judge Subterranean had a little bit of sympathy as it relates to that. But, you're talking about the subtraction of maybe 20 months, by 20 months of then what the Department of Probation recommended. So it just depends. I think that is a great example, or a great sort of way to sort of see how he sort of leans as it relates to sentencing. Obviously, it's not all things equal because Sean Combs's case is a much different case. But if you want to talk about sentencing sequence or sentencing patterns, I would say as it relates to Judge Subterranean, this guy is going to hit straight down the middle. And I am predicting 5 years. I'm predicting that. I think Sean Combs is going to do some jail time. He's going to have prison time. I think that there's a reality where that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be a time served situation, but we shall see what it is going to be. Okay, guys, thanks so much for that. I'm going to try and go somewhere and cool off and figure out my life because, oh my goodness, I have the air on, of course, but outside it's just like a sauna. It's like a sauna out there, it's crazy. Like I have to like wait to walk my dog because he's like, his little paws get like hot on the ground. I mean, it is 105 degrees. I live in the valley, Los Angeles Valley. So it's like always hotter in the valley. Oh my goodness, guys. It is just murderous. Oh my goodness. It's crazy. Okay. Well, you guys, please don't forget to subscribe and like. Hit those comments. Tell me what you think about the sentencing. What are your predictions? What do you think Judge Subterranean is going to sentence him to? Also, let me know about about how hot it is where you are. I mean, I want to know because I know it is burning up all over the country, honey. And how are you cooling off this summer? I am cooling off. I stand in. I'm drinking my water here. I got it here. I'm always drinking water, y'all. Um, and also, exercising at night. Like I do my hiking at nighttime. I walk my dog at nighttime. Um, and that's about it. Like I just when it's hot, I just can't get out. You know what I mean? But anyway, okay, guys, we'll talk soon. Thanks so much. This is Chaos in Court TV, Miss Public Info, and I'll see you later. And we'll see you tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.